G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole, where in our first story today, OP's boyfriend has to decide between charging a family member for fraud, lots of fraud, a lot of goddamn fraud, or just, ignoring it and letting it continue on for 2 years and just not mentioning it to them at all. Wow, really easy choices we got here. Anyway, if you like the story, sit back, relax, chug a prawn of the Barbie, and enjoy. Let's go. Am I the asshole for asking my boyfriend to charge his family member for fraud? Backstory. I, 27 female, and my boyfriend, 34 male, have been together 5 years and have worked really hard to save for a house. 2 weeks ago, we fell in love with a house and we put down an initial deposit to hold the property. The house won't be built until the end of 2022. We have been in talks with a mortgage broker and the builder's finance people. Last week, we received some shocking news when my boyfriend's credit score came back as being bad. There was activity on the statement that was 100% not his, and a credit card that has gone into default over the last 6 months. The credit card was originally my boyfriend's, but he swears he closed the account and cancelled the card mid-2019. Long story short, we discovered that a family member that was living with him a few years ago has gotten a hold of the card at some point and has been using the card on and off since 2019. They defaulted on payments in early 2020, but paid this off, then defaulted again in December of last year, and the account is still in default and over $5,000 is owed in charges and late fees. Charges for shopping, news agency, takeaway food and pubs, gambling. My boyfriend has had zero knowledge of this, as he hasn't had access to the account after he closed it, and hasn't been receiving statements or notices from the bank. The family member has diverted these to their addresses. We are now unable to successfully apply for a bank loan for our house, as they won't lend to my boyfriend with his credit the way it is. Our options are to 1. Proceed with fraud investigations and charges on the family member, allowing us to prove this is of no fault of my boyfriend's and successfully secure the loan, or 2. Boyfriend pays the debt and we wait at least 2 years from the payoff date for his credit to regain some loss. Option 2 sets us back at least 3 years in starting a family and our lives as homeowners. This will also not allow my boyfriend to secure a bank loan to start up his own business that he has been dreaming of starting for a few years. This was the year he planned on doing it. This has devastated us and put a massive delay in our plans. My boyfriend doesn't like conflict and is going with option 2. He isn't even planning on mentioning anything to the family member. He wants it to all go away and thinks this family member is going through a rough time. I want my boyfriend to proceed with fraud charges and investigation. We have worked too hard to not have our dream house and him owning his own business. So am I the asshole for pushing my opinion on my boyfriend? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I feel I might be the asshole as I might be pushing my boyfriend into doing something he doesn't want to do, but his actions don't only affect him, but affect me and our future. I think his decision might be selfish, but I think my opinion might be selfish also. I'm very confused and need outside opinions. Now in the comments, not the asshole, but is this someone that you really want to build a life with having this kind of baggage? He's willing to pay off a debt incurred by someone fraudulently and not even address it with that person. What happens if this person does it again? He's already taught them there is no consequences if they spend money they don't have, and then it'll be tied to you as well. You need to think long and hard about whether this is something you want to deal with long term. I do think it's odd that he's willing to pay for it and not address it with the person that incurred the debt. Are you sure the person didn't have permission to keep using it as long as they paid the bill? And OP replies, I have had these exact thoughts and am still battling with myself on what decision I make going forward, because I agree. I am not willing to let this person potentially do this again and it become my issue. My boyfriend swears to me he had no knowledge of this. He wouldn't have agreed to let this family member use the card as he knows this person isn't good with money. My conversation would go something like this with my partner. While I understand how you don't want conflict, this decision does not affect only your life, but also mine. This delays us significantly in getting a home, having a child, which you mentioned, and starting a life together. If you are not willing to put our life above disrupting someone who had no compassion or thought for you while doing something very illegal, then I will seriously need to reconsider our future going forward. It definitely sucks, but this isn't a small thing with minor consequences. You are directly impacted. 100% not the arsehole. Your boyfriend would be the arsehole if he chooses option 2. Been there, done that with a family member destroying my credit, stealing money out of my bank accounts, writing bad checks, stealing my engagement and wedding ring to pawn it, which I had to pay to get out on the last day. He needs to reopen in order to fight with credit agencies and attempt to get these debts resolved. Also, place a fraud alert and lock his credit reports so no one else can use his identity. And OP replies, "We have already put a lock on his credit, so no more charges or enquiries can be added to his account. This person has also used my boyfriend's identity to apply for payday loans. The credit card account has been locked also, and the card has been frozen. I feel right now it is still really fresh. We have known for all of 2 days. I don't think my boyfriend is thinking clearly, because it's not just the credit card lowering his score, it is all the other enquiries that have been made too. He needs the fraud report evidence to fight the rest too. He needs to go with option 1, otherwise this will continue to happen. I don't know much about small businesses, but surely the family member would be able to embezzle even more money once the boyfriend sets it up. There is so much harm that can be done, including stealing other assets. This person has not just stolen money from your boyfriend. They have stolen your chance from having your dream home together. They have stolen your boyfriend's chance to start his own business. They have stolen your chance to start your family together when you plan to. If your boyfriend lets them get away with all that, then I would say that he has also let them steal your relationship, as it's hard to see how it could survive all of that. If your boyfriend can't see that, then it may be time to reconsider where you go from here, as from my viewpoint, your boyfriend is prioritizing a thief over you." And OP replies, "I completely agree with you, and I've had these thoughts also. You say he's conflict averse, that's why he's choosing option 2. You need to make it clear to him that the options are a conflict with a lying, thieving family member or a conflict with you. This is unacceptable behavior from a life partner, and be very blunt in the fact that if you can't trust him to stick up for you and your future together, then you can't trust him, period." And now, on to the update. So, I want to begin by thanking everyone for their advice on my original post. There were some really constructive strategies and words of advice. I spoke with my boyfriend about my concerns and was honest with him that the things he was telling me didn't all make sense. He was adamant he didn't know anything about the credit card or the apparent enquiries on his credit account about payday loans. My boyfriend is still refusing to open any fraud investigations against his family member and has said he will pay off the debt himself, but some other things came out during our conversation that he was hiding from me. Lying has been a big issue of his during our whole relationship. In the past, I have forgiven him for his lies, but I can't keep forgiving the same issue every few months when he promises to change, but we're in the same spot every few months. And I'm not talking little lies. I'm talking big lies, and even bigger lies to cover up those lies. I know I'm stupid for giving him the benefit of the doubt, so in saying this, my boyfriend is now my ex-boyfriend. When I spoke with my boyfriend about my concerns above, he ended up picking up his bag and walking out on me and drove away. That was the last time I've seen him in person. This is how this man dealt with an issue in our 5-year relationship. We haven't spoken much since, but I have definitely resigned to the fact that my relationship is over. I think he is expecting me to forgive him like all the previous times. I have packed his stuff up and will return to him after my city comes out of our 6th lockdown. There is a good ending to this story though. I spoke with my mortgage broker and the housing developers. I can't afford the original townhouse I fell in love with alone, but a smaller townhouse that I also loved came available, and I've been approached for this one. I paid my deposit 3 days before my birthday last month, and I bought a house by myself. Now, a little bit of Markee commentary on that one. That's the most unbelievable part of this story, that you're able to afford your own house in Melbourne of all places. Come on, who do you think I am? Now in the comments, Good for you. The problem with a liar is that they never quit. You constantly need to keep an eye on them like some kind of child. That's not what you want in a relationship. 100%. I knew things would be iffy and off with things that he would tell me, and sometimes he forgot what he would tell me and say something different. When I would confront him about things not making sense, he would gaslight me and make me think I was imagining things, and I would second guess myself. It would drive me nuts. OP, I dragged a relationship and let myself be gaslit for 2 years. A relationship that should have ended in 2 months. He would cry, apologize, and promise to change. While I do think he meant all these things, people don't change like that. It took me a lot of time to realize this and forgive him. I hope you never let him slide back into your life. When you are gaslit and abandoned frequently, you confuse your boundaries and accept abuse. Don't do that. Don't even go back. No man is worth this much pain and hassle. I am so freaking proud of you. You are so wonderfully strong. Have a great life in your new great house. And OP replies, thank you so much for all of your kind words, and thank you so much for sharing your story with me as well. I really appreciate it. It seems like there's quite a common things between my situation and your situation, and you are completely correct. They will never change. I just want to say that you were never stupid for loving someone and trusting them, and wanting them to be their best selves. It is his fault that he lied to you, not your fault that you believed him. If he wasn't so dishonest, then your decision to trust would have been fine. It's his lies that made it a bad decision, not yours for trusting him. That whole story about the scorpion and the monkey does not apply to humans, because humans can choose not to sting. And OP says, wow, 100% true. Humans can choose not to sting. And yes, I'm not responsible for his reaction to my decision to the way he chose to act. You were never the asshole for being a good person and trusting someone. Their betrayal speaks more of themselves than anyone else. From your previous post, it seems he was willing to prioritize a fraudster than his life with you, and he was expecting you to go along with anything he decided. With all the lies on top of that, you did the healthiest thing by putting an end to the relationship. Time to enjoy a liar-free life in your new home. Also, congrats on your new house. Our next post is titled, Am I the Asshole for Refusing to Disinvite My Former Stepmom to My Wedding? So my dad and mum had a pretty dysfunctional marriage. It ended when my dad announced that he had fallen in love with another woman and filed for divorce. The divorce was ugly, but in the end, they agreed to split custody. The woman my dad cheated on was a 19-year-old. To put into perspective, my sister and I were 12 and 13 when this happened. Yeah, we were children back then and blamed her for it after a little nudging from our mother. We were awful to her, but she was a friend to us. She gave us space, she took care of us, and she helped us with things when we did ask her for something. She was the one who handled all the school communication and meetings when I was bullied. She was the one my sister trusted to pick her up from a bad party that she had snuck out to. She was the one who helped with applying for college and fought with my dad to get information that I need for my scholarship. She caught on to the fact that she could do much better than our father and divorced him when I left for college. She still stayed in touch with us, and we formed a good bond. I think of her as an elder sister and a fellow victim of my father's behavior. I am getting married and I want to invite her. My mother is against it. I have a difficult relationship with my mother, and I'm trying to mend it. I understand why she doesn't want to see her. She is the homewrecker and ruined their relationship. She thinks that I am behaving like dad and not taking into account the hurt I am causing. I feel like I am an asshole here, as I think her feelings are valid. I understand why she feels the way she does. I am forcing her to mar a happy day by inviting my stepmom, or I could just force her to skip it. It does sound like the thing my dad used to do. Now in the comments, not the asshole. She is clearly important to you, and family isn't always about biology. When I was 15, my mum had a boyfriend for a year that I was very close to. I see him as a father. I'm now 32. He was at my medical school graduation, and he'll be at my wedding later this year, as long as COVID doesn't delay it. I'd like to add, that girl was not a homewrecker. She was a kid, barely older than OP, who was almost certainly manipulated by her father, and while Mum's feelings are understandable, she is directing her anger at the completely wrong party. That's the thing. OP's father was old enough, or about old enough, to be this former stepmother's father. She was literally 6 and 7 years older than his own children, and it sounds as if she really tried to do right by the kids. It does. Also, where were Mum and Dad when the 19-year-old was handling school communications? She was somehow the most functional adult in this situation. That part. Why was this child raising their children for them? No assholes here. Let's be clear, the only homewrecker is your father. You are valid for wanting ex-stepmom there given your relationship. Your mother is also valid in not wanting to be around her, even though your father is the homewrecker. Your mother should move past it since it is your day, but you may have to make a choice if she refuses to come if stepmom comes. OP's mum doesn't need to move past not wanting to be in the same room as the woman who chose to screw her husband behind her back. Her not wanting anything to do with her is completely valid. Let's be clear here. OP's dad was a grown-ass man who chose to leave his wife and children to go screw a literal teenager. Stepmom might have been an idiot for going along with it, but she was a teenager. Shouldn't we expect her to be a bit of an idiot? I can understand OP's mum not wanting to be around her, but there is no need to vilify stepmom. Not only that, but stepmom's list of accomplishments as a stepmom is notable for doing things the birth parents should have done or normally do. Perhaps arsehole dad didn't want to do what was needed to help with the educational aspects, but if birth mum had, why would stepmom be doing this instead of birth mum? Help with applying for college and fought with dad to get the information that I needed for the scholarship. Sounds like she was a mature step-parent at the end of the day. And now on to the update. I got over 500 comments. That was a lot. I felt a lot better about inviting my stepmom for the wedding. I firmly told my mum that not inviting her was not an option. She had seemed to have gotten it. We tried to spend time together, but it was not working for me. My mum seemed like a great person in comparison to my father, but that is a really frickin' low bar. She is mean, judgmental, and fixated on social status. I've been spending time with my future mother-in-law lately. The way she talks to her daughter and me is just miles different from how my mum talks to me and my sister. Every time I went over, I realized that my mum had never been a good mother. I was still trying to make it work with my mother, but my stepmom sent me screenshots of a pretty manipulative and guilt-tripping rant that my mum had sent her. It was pretty vile and made her cry. I stopped trying to make it work and cut contact with my mum. I just wanted one of my parents to be there for the wedding, but because I knew my father was an irredeemable asshole, I pinned all my hopes on her, but she let me down. It sucks, but I will have my real friends and family there. Now in the comments, you said in your original post that you felt like your stepmom was more like an elder sister, but I just want to point out that she apparently did more for you and your sister than either of your parents. She was your mum to the best of her ability. So don't be feeling as if you had no parents there for your special day. You had an awesome parent who loved you very much right there cheering you on. I keep saying this around here, but I'll say it again. Family is who loves you, that is all, and it is everything. It was my Uncle W's favorite line, and he should know. All of the people he considered family, including me, had no genetic or legal family relationship to him. Didn't make us any less family. You've got a family. The people who love and care for and respect you. Maybe some of them are related to you by blood, like your sister. Maybe some of them will be related to you by law, like your in-laws. Maybe some of them are just family of your heart, like your ex-stepmom. As long as they are family in your mind, that is what matters. Your mum, maybe she comes around. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe you decide that she is just too much and that you don't want to deal with her, and that is totally an okay call. This internet stranger is proud of you for saying, "I don't deserve to be treated like this," and walking away. Enjoy your wedding, have fun, and celebrate safely with your family. Blessings and happiness to you and your spouse. And I think that's where I'm going to end this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading today. I know it gets thrown around a lot, but I do love that saying, family is who loves you, that is all, and it is everything. I mean, it gets tossed around in different forms on Am I the Arsehole, but I feel like it is still very true. Me personally, we've cut off entire sections of family because there's been a lot of irredeemable actions by them, and isn't that just fun? Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.